Hello, it's me, and I'd like to talk about the stupidest damn show on the face of the earth that represents communism in its greatest, like, anything in this world, you know? My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. No, anybody who knows the show, any of those really creepy bronies you ever see in this damn world, know that the show is basically doesn't have, like, what you would call, like, a huge plot line. The show basically revolves around one unicorn who basically studies friendship. Because for the first episode, you find out she's like an uppity upper class type who basically believes herself higher up than everybody else. She's also a nerd, which also means she's probably using that as an excuse for her fear of others, probably, who knows. But the whole the reason I consider it communist is because of the whole fact that everything about the show revolves around how they go about getting this mark on their you-know-what area, as we all know. Anybody who has a little sister in their lives, or at least watched the older shows, knows that weird mark that they never seem to explain the old shows until now for some reason. Anyway, the whole reason is because that mark basically is what I'm talking about, though. It's like everything revolves around that mark. It's like their whole lives are based around it. They don't have any real anything. They strive for this one typical goal and nothing else. It's like living in China, for God's sake, where everything is decided for you. I mean, what if they wanted to be good at something else and they weren't, though? I mean, and yet they don't strive for anything else. They don't strive for better. They don't strive for anything. They just go with what they have, and it doesn't seem right to me. It feels stupid to create a show for kids without telling them that you should go for what you want to do in life, not for what people think you should, not for what it seems like you're good at. Another thing I didn't like is because of the control factor of the show. The fact that everybody in the show is basically trying to control each other. If you ever, and also it's the humbleness of every character around royalty and crap like that. They literally are treated like shit and nobody seems to mind. Everybody basically goes to, if you watch Cancel Out Wedding, you'll understand this, because the first episode revolves around how the main characters are suspicious of everything that goes on around her. She's gone back to see her brother get married. Everything's happy-go-lucky. And I believe at the very beginning of that episode, there's a little clue that things aren't all as they seem because the pink one sneezes confetti. Now, anybody who's not familiar with the show is not going to understand that, so I'm not going into that. Back to the main point of this episode. The whole point is, throughout the entire first episode of this, because it's a two-part episode, and she's finding out that her friends are being treated like shit and they're just accepting it by her brother's fiance. And this is kind of, since his fiance is royalty, it's basically she's treating them like she's lesser, and they're just accepting it like it's nothing. They just smile and go about it. And it just doesn't seem right to me that this like that it's like that. It is like it's like making out that leaders are better than you, crap like that, and that you're as long as you're underneath them, that you're never gonna come to anything. And then let's see, another episode. This one has to revolve around the really weirdo character called Discord. Discord is a Draconicus who's a god of chaos. Um, Basically, he doesn't kill anybody. He doesn't really do anything humongously bad for the most part. But it's like any children's show bad guy. He stirs up a little trouble here, and all of a sudden he has to get punished severely for it by being, like, turned to frickin' stone. I mean, anybody who's watched a troll in Central Park knows how frickin' harsh a punishment that can be. It's not at all a nice thing. I mean, considering the fact that you are being turned to stone, and from what I can tell, he can hear everything that goes on around him, even though he is in stone. So he doesn't seem to be too bothered by it either. But it's just the fact that he doesn't seem to really do anything humongously bad. He's just an idiot for the most part. He doesn't really plan anything. He doesn't think straight about anything. He just goes with it. He just goes with what he is, I guess. He's a free spirit, I guess. But everybody else is always trying to shove him down, tell him what to do. And if you see the second part, it's another episode with him, in season 3 of the show, you'll find out that once again they decide they need him for something. They're willing to use him, and if he doesn't do what they tell him to do, they're going to turn him to stone. Now that's pretty harsh. It's basically saying you have no right to live your life at all and that you're being forced into this sort of little thing. Now that's one part of the show. Now this next part I have to do is the very first episode, which revolves around the character Nightmare Moon. Now she's kind of a difficult one. I still would not consider her evil either, because of the fact that she doesn't do anything evil. I mean, she wants eternal night because she's pissed off at her stupid sister who treats her probably like dirt. I'm not sure who she's really doing it to get back at, really. Whether at the ones that she rules over or her stupid big sister who thinks she's all that. It's kind of weird that you do this, so everything in the show basically revolves around. Basically, that's how it begins, telling the story about how that happened. Thing is, though, she's not really bad. She's just upset, you know? She doesn't really. And as the show continues, she doesn't try to hurt anyone, and she does try to scare them off to leave her alone. She wants to rule, but all at the same time, she feels as if she's not accepted. Which was probably true because they don't really go into huge amounts of detail. I mean, it is a kid show, and they can only do so much with a kid show. Unless you want to up the rating to PG, you're not gonna get much story. No backstory anyway. Anyway, the plot just seems wrong to me because it's her sister basically ruling over her and using 6 adolescents to take care of the problem for her. Because as soon as Nightmare shows up, she's gone. It's like she just disappeared. Chances are she probably ran away, probably a test or something, God knows. She doesn't try to confront her, she doesn't try to talk to her, she just basically runs for the hills. Which is kind of ridiculous if you ask me. I don't know, it just doesn't seem right to me. Now, I don't really hate the show as I do, I just don't like the whole concept that everything is so controlled. The alicorns are these creatures that have all this power over everybody under the sun. If you're not one of... And they're all female, which is even worse. I mean, anybody who knows anything about feminists knows that they're becoming a huge problem in the United States and everywhere else because they don't stop bitching about their freaking problems. So, as the show goes on, you find out more and more about how these stupid problems and all these small little things seem to be these huge issues to just a small amount of people. I guess it's because they're pacifists maybe in the show and they really don't have wars and crap like that, or even so I guess they don't really know what true evil is, so unless someone decides to drop a nuke on them, I guess you're never gonna know, are they? That'd be interesting to show on the show, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's basically all I have to say about that, and goodbye.